Luke chapter 2, verse 52. That is the last time we see him as a boy. He is 12 years old. He is standing in the temple, astounding the priests with his answers. And then, silence. For 18 years, the most famous man in history vanishes. The Bible says nothing. The historians say nothing. From age 12 to age 30, Jesus of Nazareth is a ghost. Where did he go? Did he stay in a small village quietly planing wood? Or did he travel to the mist-covered mountains of India? Did he walk the green hills of ancient Britain? Or was he hiding in plain sight, working in a city so dangerous the Bible refused to name it? Today we reopen the cold case. The year is 1887. A Russian war correspondent named Nicholas Notovich is traveling through the frozen peaks of Kashmir. He is far from home, exploring the remote Hemis monastery in Ladakh. When disaster strikes, Notovich breaks his leg. Forced to stay in the monastery to recover, he begins talking to the head lama. And that is when the monk reveals a secret. He tells Notovich that deep in their library, they are guarding ancient scrolls that tell the life story of a Jewish prophet named Issa. Notovich is stunned. Issa is the Arabic name for Jesus. According to Notovich, he translated these scrolls, and they tell a story that rewrites history. The scrolls claim that at age 14, young Jesus did not stay in Nazareth. To avoid an arranged marriage, he fled his home. He joined a merchant caravan on the Silk Road, destined for India. The scrolls say he spent 6 years in the holy cities of Jagannath and Benares. He studied the Vedas. He learned to heal. He mastered the ancient languages. But there was a problem. The scrolls say Jesus saw the dark side of India's caste system. The priests taught that the poor were unworthy of God's love. Jesus disagreed. He began preaching in the streets that God belonged to everyone, even the lowest caste. The priests were furious. They plotted to kill him. So just like in Jerusalem years later, he had to flee for his life. He traveled west through Persia, finally returning to Palestine at age 29. Ready to change the world. It is a perfect story. It explains his wisdom. It explains the missing years. But there is just one small problem. The problem was, the monks had never heard of him. Years later, when actual scholars traveled to the Hemis monastery to see these famous scrolls, the head lama was confused. He told them there were no scrolls of Issa. He said no Russian with a broken leg had ever stayed there. Nicholas Notovich had invented the entire story to sell books. The India theory was a hoax. But why did people believe it? Why do we still want to believe it? Because the alternative, that the Son of God spent 18 years just waiting, feels impossible. So if he didn't go east, the legends say he must have gone west. Enter the Britain theory. This legend centers on Joseph of Arimathea, the wealthy man who eventually buried Jesus. History tells us Joseph was a merchant trading in tin. And in the ancient world, the best tin came from one place, Cornwall, England. The legend says that on one of these business trips, Joseph took his teenage great-nephew, Jesus, with him. They say he walked the green hills of Glastonbury. They say he built a small wattle and dog chapel there, the first church in the world. It is a beautiful image. It inspired the famous anthem, Jerusalem. And did those feet in ancient time walk upon England's mountains green? But beauty is not history. There is zero archaeological evidence that Jesus ever set foot in Britain. The reality is much less romantic and much more dangerous. We don't need to look 3,000 miles away to find Jesus. We only need to look 4 miles down the road to a city the Bible refused to mention. A place of Roman luxury, Greek philosophy, and brutal oppression. Welcome to Sepphoris. Mark chapter 6, verse 3 asks, "Is this not the carpenter?" For centuries we have imagined Jesus in a quiet workshop, sanding wooden tables. But the Greek word used in the Bible is Tekton. It does not mean wood carver. It means builder, architect, or stone mason. And in 1st century Judea, houses weren't made of wood. They were made of stone. Jesus wasn't just fixing chairs in Nazareth. He was likely a day laborer walking 1 hour north to the massive construction project of his time, Sepphoris. Herod Antipas was rebuilding this city into the ornament of all Galilee. It was a metropolis of 30,000 people. It had paved streets, public baths, banks, and a massive stone theater. Imagine the culture shock. Every morning, Jesus walked from the traditional quiet village of Nazareth into the heart of the Roman Empire. He saw wealth. He saw corruption. He saw the theater. In fact, the Greek word for actor is hypocrites. When Jesus later called the Pharisees hypocrites, he wasn't just using a religious term. He was using a theatrical term. He was calling them actors wearing masks. He spoke of building a house on rock, not sand. He spoke of counting the cost before building a tower. These aren't the metaphors of a shepherd. These are the memories of a construction worker. The Bible is silent about these 18 years, not because nothing happened, but because everything happened. He wasn't in India. He wasn't in Britain. He was right there, in the mud and the stone, observing the very people he came to save. The last years were not lost time. They were a time of preparation. They were the years where the divine learned what it meant to be human, to work hard, to pay taxes, to see injustice up close. The mystery isn't where he went. The mystery is that he was right beside us the whole time, and nobody knew his name. Do you think Jesus worked in Sepphoris, or do you still believe the legends of the East? Let us know in the comments below. If you want to uncover more lost history, click here to watch our deep dive into the Nephilim. I'll see you in the next mystery.